Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can even earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Spotify for Podcasters has made our podcasting process so much easier and even has options like Q&As and polls so we can engage with listeners. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
The following contains descriptions of physical violence, sexual violence, and graphic descriptions of autopsies.
Hey listeners, welcome to episode 65 of TGIC Podcast. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Izzy.
Sorry.
No, yeah, we're really sorry. It's been 3 months?
3 months. Because the last few episodes we really started as apologizing, but this time this was the worst.
No, this was actually horrible.
And we thought things were gonna get better. I don't know, but dude, I don't know if we mentioned. I'm sure we've mentioned. We were in the IB diploma program, so we were in exams for 3 weeks.
No, we were literally, and then we had graduation and prom and 10 graduation parties each, and it was so much. We literally did not have time to sit down, let alone
I swear there was just so much going
research.
on. We had exams on top of others, personal life stuff, graduation, college stuff, everything literally just sped up, and I feel there was other random stuff just happened at the same time.
No, exactly. So it was just
much.
It was so much stuff going on, and it was those last few months of senior year was so many finals, so many discussions with counselors, trying to find a roommate, doing prom stuff, doing graduation stuff. But now we're done, and everything is finally over.
Should we do a grand announcement of where we're going to college?
Maybe we should.
Oh my god, wait, I didn't even think about it. We should.
Yeah, we should. Because we've been talking about it for so long.
I know. That's crazy.
That is really crazy.
All right, I'll do a little drum roll for you. Okay, ready?
No, wait. You go first.
Okay. I'm going to... Okay, you're gonna... Okay. I wasn't sure when you were going to stop. You got really into your
I got into it.
I'm going to the University of Georgia. What the fuck is that?
It's my watch.
Is it going to turn itself off?
It'll turn off. Turn off.
You really just stole my thunder.
Sorry. Okay.
And, okay, ready?
UGA.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I'm going to the University of Vermont.
Woo! Go Catamounts.
Go Catamounts. Go dogs. Go everybody.
Go everybody.
Yeah.
So, congrats to our fellow seniors that have just made this decision or are deciding what else to do with their life. Congratulations on graduating high school.
And also, okay, we need to bring back toxic positivity because we need to talk about this.
No.
Yes!
Are we bringing back toxic positivity?
Maybe we should. I gotta be honest with y'all, we literally made that just to put all of our college applications. We have 2 podcasts.
Dude, I actually didn't mention it on a single one. I didn't
end
up doing it. No, because I didn't want to list it as an extracurricular because
and then people were oh.
Well, no, my whole essay was on Teen Girls Investigate Crime.
Yeah, and you don't want to distract
And
them.
so I didn't want to put that also as an extracurricular because it was the prompt that was what's something additional you'd like to add? And so
yeah.
But then I think in the essay I briefly mentioned starting another podcast, but it was literally so brief.
Yeah.
I think it was in a compound sentence of something else.
Yeah, no, that podcast was a good idea. Maybe it'll come back in a different form. Maybe it will stay dead.
I don't know. Apparently you were recording a podcast by yourself for fun the other day, so maybe you could take over.
I was missing the podcast grind. I was really missing TGIC.
Dude,
like, I got so into my research for this episode.
Now it's summer, so we'll have a little bit more time. We're going to try to figure out, like, what our schedule for, like, the upcoming bit's going to look like. We've been talking. We've been trying to figure out a way that, like, maybe the podcast doesn't have to end, even though, you know,
we're going
decided to go really far away. But, you know, we'll figure it out. So we'll keep you guys posted on that, but I think we're going to figure out a solution.
Yeah, and I think whatever we end up doing, like, it'll be, like, a satisfying... Like, we're not just gonna ghost you guys.
We did low-key ghost them
We did low-key ghost y'all. But the thing is, like, it's so weird to me. The amount of time when we were so stressed out with other stuff and not really focusing on the podcast was when it started kind of, like...
Picking up a
little bit. Like, we haven't released an episode in 3 months, but I think, like...
Our analytics have been the best they've ever been.
No, we've hit our record on, like, daily listens in those 3 months. Like, Jillian will just text me, or I'll text her occasionally, like, and be like, did you look at the analytics last week?
So we definitely want to get back into it because we do miss the podcast and we don't really want it to end. So we're trying to figure out how everything's going to look with all this, like, change and stuff. But for now, we're definitely going to try to get some episodes out to you guys because I know it's been a while, so...
It's been a while, just a bit.
But we're excited, and, like, I don't know, I've definitely missed it. Like, I was a little worried about, like, how, like, talking would start to feel again. Like, just, like, I know it's stupid, but, like, I didn't know how to talk. And, like, now I feel like I'm feeling good. I'm feeling, like, ready to be back at this.
Yeah, I am, too. And it's just, like, the thing about podcasting, well, at least the type that we do, is, like, at some point, it's a little bit of mouth vomit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's hard to readjust back into it, because, like, when we first started podcasting, it was, like... We used to edit our podcast more. Like, I feel like we'd be like, oh, you just said, we need to get rid of that.
Yeah, dude, we just had your, like, watch beep, and, like, we didn't even cut that out. We didn't pause, nothing. We were just like, is that gonna stop?
No, yeah.
Maybe they didn't even hear it. What if they didn't even hear the watch beeping?
Yeah, it's fine. No, because, like, I don't know, it just feels more natural.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're not perfect people.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
Is that a Hannah Montana song? Nobody's perfect. Oh, that's also, she did the bone dance to that, like the tune, but it was different words.
What is the bone dance?
She did it in biology to remember all the bones. She was like, you're doing the bone dance, you dance and you learn it again and again till I get it right. You don't know the bone dance?
I didn't really watch Hannah Montana.
Bone dance. Oh. Anyway, there was a summer where I stayed at my grandparents' and I would wake up really early in the morning and I would turn on the TV and I would watch Disney Replay. I don't know if you can remember what Disney Replay was. Disney Replay. And so, because I was up that early, I was up early enough to watch Disney Replay. It was like 6 a.m. and I'd watch Hannah Montana before I went to day camp.
Hey.
Dude, that was the life, honestly.
That was the life.
I really wish I was still at a point in this, like, I used to wake up early and watch Disney, like, old Disney reruns every single morning in the summer.
No, because it was so nice. We'd be up so early.
No, I'd be up so early, like 6 a.m. every morning, and I'd be downstairs, and the thing is, I would, like, disrupt my dogs, too. Like, I'd come downstairs, and my dogs would be, like, barking, like, violently. But, like, I was, like, 6, so I wasn't about to, like, let them outside or feed them or do anything remotely responsible. So I just, like, wake everybody else up with the dogs barking, but I'd be sitting on the couch watching Disney Channel, like, nothing was my problem.
Yeah, like, I would go to my parents' bed and, like, bother them, like, watch TV until they woke up, like, every single day.
Like, I miss that energy of summer, like, coming downstairs in the morning alone and, like, watching. Like, I really have started to realize how much I value my alone time in the morning. Like, even weekend mornings, I'm up before everybody else.
Yeah, and it's so nice to be up early.
And I'm, like, I go sit upstairs in the kitchen and, like, drink my coffee, and it's just quiet.
Yeah, like, I feel bad for my roommate next year, because, like, I definitely will be waking her up a little bit too early.
No, I know. I think I'm just gonna have to leave, like, but that's, like, kind of the cool thing about college, like, the freedom of, like, usually now it's like I can't really leave the house before my parents wake up because I can't tell them where I'm going, and so then I feel bad. But, like, next year it's like if I wake up and I feel like going for a walk, I can. If I feel like going for a cup of coffee, I can.
No, literally, like, I want to go to the gym or I want to go to the dining hall or whatever. Like,
there's just so much freedom.
The library.
Anyway, we got so off topic.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're actually
like 7 minutes.
We're actually gonna, like, give you content now, I guess.
Yeah, but this is also, like, fun content.
Yeah. Oh my god. Sorry. You want to know what I've been thinking about? Because I was just watching it. Guys, you should go watch The Ultimatum Queer Love, because I'm so entertained right now.
We watched this last night.
I was so I've been literally, I watched it before I came over. Izzy, like, started halfway through, and then I watched more without her this morning. I'm, like, so into this show. Like, I have to know what happened. Izzy Googled what happened, but I don't want spoilers.
I'm impatient. I don't want to watch 10 episodes that are an hour long each.
I don't want to watch it, but also at the same time, I have nothing going on in my life right now, so I kind of need to pass the time.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry, quick little booster for that fantastic show. It's actually so dumb. Anyway, today we're actually gonna give you content, like I said. We're gonna do another conspiracy theories episode because the last time we did this, y'all really seemed to like enjoy it.
And it was fun.
And it was really fun. I kind of like when we do like one, like when we each do a little different thing. We did that before with like a true crime thing, and I kind of like the energy of that. It's fun.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a part 2 to the conspiracy theories episode, but with different conspiracy theories this time.
Yeah.
So Izzy's gonna go ahead and get us started because you've heard enough of me.
So first off, let's just talk about the fact conspiracy theories are damaging. A lot of them are really harmful, and like obviously they're not real. But it's just like scary how much like I don't know. I feel like it creates these like groups of people and stuff. They can be very damaging.
Yeah, I just feel like it's like important to notice like the difference between conspiracy theories. Like there are the ones that are a little like we tend to lean towards like, you know, the little bit like
outlandish.
I'm gonna call them the more fun conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're not flat earthers. We're not like I don't know. We're not saying anything that's like
QAnon. We're not talking about QAnon.
I don't know what that is, TBH.
It's stupid.
Okay. Or like we're not like, you know, nothing that crosses the boundary of like,
harmful.
You know, prejudice or anything like that. Like, cause that's like real fucked up, and I don't think that should be even considered a conspiracy theory. Cause I feel like it takes away from like what, you know, there are fun, like not fun, but there are like interesting conspiracy theories that you can talk about that are like not super damaging. Mm-hmm. Like even like the JFK assassination, like I feel like yes, that's a very serious topic, but at the same time there's a lot of interesting conspiracy theories about that. That's like allowed to be conspiracy theory. Things that like, you know, pin certain things on like a specific group of people that are total bullshit, those should not even be called conspiracy theories. That's just like fucking excuses to be like prejudiced and racist.
Exactly.
And every other ist.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of conspiracy theories still have like underlying themes of like prejudice and like negative ideologies and stuff, but it's just important to recognize that like a lot of them are just like stupid and harmful.
Yeah, like lizard people.
Yeah, like why?
That's stupid.
Anyway, so I am going to talk about the Montauk experiment / the Philadelphia experiment. So, on the eastern tip of Long Island holds an infamous abandoned military base called Camp Hero. And the park is actually now called Camp Hero State Park, and it's like somewhere people visit for like hikes and stuff. And like a lot of people now come to the park to like ogle it because of all the conspiracy theories around it. And
that sounds like something we would do.
Yeah, it totally does. And, like, a lot of locals kind of tisk the rumors of, like, time travel in Montauk and, like, all the experiments. Like, there were, like, people said there was, like, experiments on kidnapped boys from around the area, time travel, wormholes.
What is a wormhole?
I don't even know.
I think I read a short story about a wormhole when I was in, like, 2nd grade, and it's always really stuck with me.
I thought that you would find this really interesting because of some of the experiments with that type of stuff on this.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, like, it was, like, a military base. So it was, like, basically the U.S. government doing experiments and, like, other things on, like, time travel and trying to give people superpowers, whatever. So that's what this is about. And many people think that the conspiracy theories and rumors really took hold in 1992 after a book was published called The Montauk Project: Experiments in Time by Preston B. Nichols and Peter Moon. So the book has now been characterized as science fiction. However, it like has like a really big influence, and it took a while for it to be characterized that way. Like I think for a long time people actually thought that it was real, and it was like actually the accounts from these guys.
Oh.
And like because they never discounted it, and it was also like there was a lot of pictures and images that were like kind of altered that looked real in the book. So just kind of like misdirection. And the book was actually an extension of a really influential thing called the Philadelphia Experiment conspiracy. So the conspiracy is like really creepy. And it's basically something that was documented by an ex-merchant mariner, Carl M. Allen.
What's a
Mariner?
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. Some guy who works on a ship
for
the Navy. And so he said that this event took place in 1943, and he like sent a book full of notes in late 1955 to the U.S. Navy, like to a U.S. Navy research organization that outlined like all of this information that I'm about to tell you. And it was like a bunch of annotated documents and notes and like all this stuff. So basically, this guy said that he was working on the SS Andrew Forsyth in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in 1943. And by his account, a scientist named Franklin Reno successfully made a ship called the USS Eldridge invisible, and then the ship teleported from the shipyard to Norfolk.
Norfolk? What the fuck is wrong with you? What did you just say?
Norfolk? I don't even know what I just said. Norfolk, Virginia, for multiple minutes before teleporting back to the previous shipyard in Philadelphia. And supposedly Reno did this through the use of like electromagnetic fields.
Interesting.
Yeah. And this is really gross and messed up, but Allen claimed that the crew of the ship suffered a bunch of weird side effects, including like insanity, health issues, schizophrenic episodes, and then also a little thing. Apparently people were frozen into the walls of the goddamn ship.
How is that possible?
So like when it teleported, like apparated back into Philadelphia, like between the two, some people got fused into the ground and into the sides of the walls and frozen
because
there.
that shit's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, I know, because it's against nature.
That's
but
crazy.
Like that's what he said. And apparently this is obviously proven to be a hoax. And the guy who wrote the account was pretty much like a master of like freaking people out. And like his family was interviewed because nobody could track him down, and they were like, yeah, he kind of just likes pulling people's legs. And they were like, oh, okay. Anyways, following the publishing of that book, it kind of like influenced the Montauk Project Experiments in Time and was like kind of like a jumping off point for it. And so the Montauk Project was like this crazy like journey themed book kind of. And like basically these people called the Montauk Boys were experimented on. It was like the boys from the local area who were kidnapped and then taken to the military base.
Oh.
And like obviously like opening portals and other crazy shit. And like some of the locals in Montauk, like I said earlier, like were like, no, this is stupid, like this isn't real. And then other people started kind of like theorizing.
Oh.
So a lot of people overlook it, but then you have locals like Paul Fagan and Joe Lafreno. So both of them did like interviews with New York Mag to talk about their experiences. And Paul Fagan actually researched and explored Camp Hero for like over 14 years to come to a sort of conclusion. And this guy was like looking through like historical documents and military documents and government documents in Washington, D.C. For years trying to figure out what was going on. And then he was also like exploring the camp itself in the state park. And he came to the conclusion that there might have been a nuclear reactor below the camp, which was buried in the 1940s.
Ooh.
And he thinks that maybe the conspiracy theories and stuff have been going on for so long because the government is trying to distract from the potential reactor.
That's interesting.
Which is really fascinating. And I was like, I feel like that's more probable than the actual stuff going on.
Yeah, no. I'm always curious about like cover-up stuff like that. Like when I was doing research for conspiracy theories, I looked into doing this whole thing about Disney because there's so many Disney conspiracy theories. But there was this whole one about how like Frozen was created to distract from like his head being frozen, and I thought that was crazy. Anyway, I just think that cover up stuff like that is so crazy.
Exactly. And like I think in the last episode about conspiracy theories, we talked about the Denver airport and like how they kind of leaned into the conspiracy theory thing so that it would distract potentially from like the other issues of the airport.
Yeah.
So I think it's just really interesting like taking that stance. And then Joe Lafreno, on the other hand, believes that he was actually one of the Montauk Boys. And he thinks that he was. So he thinks he was like kidnapped and tortured in the facility in the 1980s.
I'm sorry, how do you think that?
So I'll tell you. So a few years back, he went through hypnosis, and he said in the span of like 40 minutes of this hypnosis, he had like a bunch of memories flood back from the base. And like it was like this long, laborious, like he had like so much stuff to talk about. And I actually like it's really fascinating because I was like looking at this and I remembered something we learned in psych last year where it's like the more people like people may experience something, but the more they think about it and like dramatize it in their mind, the more like details they get.
Yeah, it's like power of suggestion, but like on yourself.
Yeah. So it's like that's what I feel it kind of gives me that vibe. So he said that like him and a friend biked to the base when they were little, and they were brought into the base by two men who were dressed in like street clothes. And essentially, he was led to a room with like 50 other boys who ended up being experimented on or being killed while they were there. And what's even more interesting is the fact that this guy is literally employed by the state park and like works there. And like people like him and think he's like kind of believe him.
Wait, so he definitely, like, he works at the base, so he definitely been at the base before this hypnosis thing?
Yeah.
Oh, then he's full of shit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And he's a native. Like, he's lived there his whole life.
Yeah, bullshit.
So, yeah. And, like, the original army base was decommissioned in 1981, so a lot of theories have swirled, and people have come forward with experiences over, like, the past years. So it's just really interesting, like, all these books being written and, like, all this evidence, supposed evidence coming forward, but it's, like, not going anywhere. But it's just, like... It's weird that it's one of my, like, the most interesting ones about, like, the U.S. military and U.S. government, in my opinion. Because it's, like, it actually, they base Stranger Things on this conspiracy theory.
That's bonkers.
Which is crazy.
I'm sorry.
That's bonkers.
That's really, like, weird. I was serving somebody yesterday. Sorry, this made me think of it, like, weird things to say at weird times. I just started a job as a server, and I put down the plate of food in front of somebody. So I'm still learning the serving thing. So I'm still learning how to, like, react to people. I put down this plate in front of this woman, and she goes, "Wow, this looks amazeballs." And I just had to, like, not react. I was like, enjoy. Like, I was just, like, in such shock. I also walked over at one point to bring them napkins. Like, they'd asked for more napkins or something. I walk over. Like, they definitely knew I was coming. And while I'm over there, she starts saying something to her friends, and they're talking about, like, a reverse BBL. And I was like, I don't know what that
How
means.
old were they?
I don't know. I could, like 30s? It was so weird.
Oh my god.
Anyway, my time for my conspiracy
Your time,
theory.
your time.
Okay, I was actually inspired because I didn't know what to do, and then my mom texted me that she was going to make my dad listen to a podcast about this so he would never want to swim in this lake again. Anyway, we're not even lake people. That's the funny thing. We were just talking about it at dinner the other night. It was like a random dinner conversation.
Tubing is... We need to go tubing, though.
What kind of tubing?
Not lake tubing, like
floating down a river tubing?
Yeah.
But that's like, we'll go in the Chattahoochee.
That's Chattahoochee.
Yeah, no. Lake tubing's a lot of fun. I used to do it at Sleepaway Camp, but I refuse to go in Lake Lanier.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna tell you why I refuse to go in Lake Lanier. We've actually been in Lake Lanier together before.
We have.
Yeah. Anyway, so Lake Lanier is this lake in North Georgia. It's like really, I'll give you some background, like just from my perspective, like not research background. It's like this lake in North Georgia. It's pretty popular. Like people have lake houses or boats that they keep up there. Or like we drove up, we did like the like, you know, we don't have a boat or a house or anything. So we like drove up to this like, it's like a public, it's not a public park, I guess but it's like, I'd say it's like a nature reserve kind of thing. Like we paid like $5 to get in.
Yeah.
And then we like get to swim at this like lake beach for a little bit. Like we did that one time a couple of years ago. And it was fine. It was like, you can't go that far in, but there's also this like, I don't know, have you ever been to the water park up there?
No.
Okay. So I've been to the water park up there because they have like a water park on the lake. And I actually the conversation came up with like my parents and stuff recently because apparently they closed the coastline at the water park. Like, you're no longer allowed to swim off the lake because it's too dangerous. Too many people have drowned recently. Yeah. So, like, at the water park, most of the stuff is, like, regular water park stuff. Like, it happens to be by the lake. But they did have one ride that was actually, it was kind of cool, actually, that, like, went into the lake.
Really?
Yeah. It was just cool. It was, like, you're in a giant-ass tube, and then they, like, spray you with soap, and then you go down It was really fun. I mean, but, like, also they closed the lake because too many people are dying.
Yeah. Because the lake is scary.
Yeah. Okay, so now that you, like, kind of know what it is, I will explain to you its history. So the creation of Lake Lanier was really controversial just, like, from the beginning. So there were, like, several towns, and there's a strong natural environment in the area prior. Like, so, like, several towns, especially, I think there was a pretty prominent town, I believe it was called Oscarville. That was, like, a primarily black town, and, you know, shocker, the white people running Georgia wanted to just get rid of it without giving a fuck about the people that lived there. Anyway, so the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers wanted to create this, like, man-made lake to provide power and water to, like, Atlanta counties. Even though this is pretty far from Atlanta. So, like, I mean, if I was living in those towns, I would not give a fuck about the power and water of Atlanta.
No, literally, and it's also, like, this wasn't meant for, like...
It was not meant for recreational use, which is funny, because that's definitely what it's used for now.
Yeah.
So, in order to, like, get the people off the land, they offered these local families money for their land. However, the properties had been in the families for, like, several generations, and they, like, had sentimental value. Like, they were like, you know, you can't really put a price on, like, my family's generational land. And then also the money that they were offered, they realized eventually was just, like, not even substantial enough for them to live off of.
Yeah.
Like, they did not offer them enough, but it was too late after they realized that. So the flooding began in 1956, and many people, like, crowded together just to watch the destruction of their homes and communities.
Oh, that's
like, kind of sad. Like, but, like, low-key, like, I would have gone, too. Like, it's like when they blew up the Georgia Dome.
Yeah.
Like, everyone just goes and watches. So the naming of the lake on top of that was also really controversial. Like, some people wanted to name it for, like, politicians in Georgia. Some of it wanted to be named for, like, some football coach. It ended up being named for, like, this Georgia poet, Sidney Lanier. He was also, like, a Confederate soldier, I think. Yeah. I mean, like, shocker, but, like, it's Georgia.
Yeah.
Our state fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like, literally, you don't, like, just don't ask questions about, like, how things are named. It fucking sucks.
No, like, fucking Stone Mountain?
Our local middle school had to have its name changed.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I'm glad it did get changed. It was, like, a long-ass process because, like, you know, people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
God, Stone Mountain scares the fuck out of
I
me.
hate Stone Mountain.
All right. So, rumors of the lake being cursed originated because the flooded town under Lake Lanier contained a cemetery.
Ooh.
And so, like, a lot of the graves that were in the cemetery, like, if they were marked, they were, like, you know, dug up and, like, relocated. But that was if they could find their families. But there were also, like, several unmarked graves. And so it's suspected that these unmarked graves just, like, negligence, like, no one really gave a fuck, no families came forward to claim them. All these unmarked graves are, like, underwater, just submerged.
I hate that. That's my least favorite thing.
It gets worse. A local diver, like, so there's this dude, like, he, like, swims out there all the time, like, dives and, like, looks at stuff and whatever. He says he's reached out several times and, like, felt, like, arms, legs. Just, like, underneath the water.
No.
And this is, like, not some, like, crazy person. Like, many people say they've, like, reached out before and, like, felt bodies.
I'm never swimming in that lake again.
Yeah.
Actually, never. Like, never.
It's horrifying.
That's, like, okay, I have a funny story about, like, Lanier really quick. I'm gonna interview. So, my grandparents used to have a lake, like, a house on Lake Lanier. Like, they lived there just, like, normally, which is so weird. Like, that's just, like, old Southern people things. But, and they lived there, and we were swimming in Lake Lanier for a little bit. Okay, I beg of you guys, look up an alligator gar. It's
Is that one of those fishies?
It's huge. And I was swimming, and I was paddleboarding, and I fell off the paddleboard, and I felt something touch my leg. It was a motherfucking alligator gar.
Wait, is that, like, okay, because there's this other thing about Lake Lanier where people have claimed to see catfish as big as, like, cars.
Yeah.
Is an alligator gar that big?
It's huge. They're huge.
As big as a car?
Look it up.
Okay.
It's not as big as a car, but...
Because people have said they've seen catfish down there that are as big as a car.
Respectfully, I do not believe that.
I believe it.
But that's what it was.
Oh, God.
No, and they have teeth.
They're kind of cute, though.
Shut up. If that swam and hit you when you were swimming...
I mean, I'd rather that than, like, an actual alligator. It's just a fish with teeth. I mean,
It's
I wouldn't
huge.
be happy. Hold on. Let me look up Lake Lanier catfish. I'm see if there's a picture of this thing. Because people have said they've seen it. Like, it's big as a car. Yeah. There's a fucking picture. I told you. Don't call me crazy. There's literally, look how big that fucking is. Yeah, so your alligator gar has nothing on that sucker. Dude, that is a fat ass fish. Anyway. So yeah, there's bodies under there. And catfish as big as cars.
Oh, that makes my skin crawl. Like, I hate that.
We swam in that bitch.
I know, I hate that.
So there are also, like, structures at the bottom of the lake, including an old racetrack. Apparently there's this, like, racetrack in Gainesville, Georgia that just, like, got sunk.
That's
like, it's
so weird.
it's just at the bottom. Because what they did was they, like, got rid of anything that would have been too tall.
Mm-hmm.
But if it, like, was just going to be at the bottom, they, like, didn't get rid of it. So there's, like, foundations of buildings, like, small houses, old racetrack. And then some people say there's a church. This has been argued because they say that, like, because of the steeple, they would have gotten rid of the church. But also, like, they could have just gotten rid of the steeple, not the full church. I don't know. But, like, locals also say they hear, like, church bells just ringing around the lake, which is, like, freaky as fuck. And so then the town of Oscarville, which I mentioned before, had actually, like, nothing got destroyed. And so, like, the whole town is just under there somewhere. Like, they just didn't, like, remove anything. So, like, it's just down there. Like, there's houses and, like, banks and stuff just, like, at the bottom.
That's so weird.
I know. I'd actually love to go diving. I feel like that'd be so cool.
That would be so scary, though.
It'd be really scary,
It'd be
but
really
I feel like
eerie.
it'd be really cool to see. They've also said that, like, random items like tires and just, like, random artifacts have just floated up over time. I mean, because there's, like, towns underneath there. It's just floating up. Cars and stuff. Okay. On top of that, there's also, like, a specific, like, haunting, and there's this, her name is the Lady of the Lake.
Ooh.
So, this goes back to April of 1958, which is pretty soon after the lake was created. These two women, their names were Delia Parker Young and Susie Roberts. They were in a Ford sedan, and they just, like, swerved off a bridge and ended up in the lake. Or they were suspected to have ended up in the lake. Some people have reported since then sightings of a woman in a blue dress wandering the bridge at night looking lost.
Oh.
So, a year and a half after the crash in 1958, a woman's body was found in the water, but it was, like, so decomposed that it just couldn't be identified. Many people suspect that it was Delia Parker Young, who was one of the women in the crash, but, like, they couldn't confirm it because her body was so decomposed.
Mm-hmm.
So she was eventually just buried in an unmarked grave in 1959. So then, like, this woman, like, the ghost lady, the Lady of the Lake, is seen, but, like, you know, it kind of just becomes, like, a local, like, myth. It's, like, high schoolers go out there to, like, try to find the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah.
They say that she, like, wanders on the highway, like, towards the bridge. Like, she's, like, trying to get back to the bridge, which is really fucking freaky. You're, like, making a sad face. I'm, like, freaked out by that shit.
That's so sad.
But then in November of 1990, which is, you know, a while later, the bridge was taken apart during renovations, and the Ford sedan was actually found, like, caked in, like, mud, like, somewhere between the bridge and the lake kind of thing. It was just found, and, like, bones of Susie Roberts were identified in there.
But not the other woman?
Well, they suspect that the other woman is the body that they found years before.
Oh.
Isn't that horrifying, though? They found the car.
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
That's so scary.
The Lady of the Lake kind of haunts that area. On top of that, a lot of people die there. I think I mentioned that. Like, the lake, I'm pretty sure the lake beach area is closed right now just because so many people have drowned recently. My brother's friend was literally there at one point when 2 people drowned.
What?
Yeah, because they have a boat, and so, like, they're up there a lot. And one time while he was there, like, 2 people drowned.
It's just scary.
700 deaths have occurred at Lake Lanier since its creation.
Which is kind of a lot.
Yeah, it's actually...
and probably more than that.
It's literally known as the most dangerous reservoir in the entire country.
That's crazy.
Like, it's the most dangerous lake in the whole country.
And it's also, like, how many bodies do you think have been dumped in there?
I'm sure.
Like,
and all the ones that were already there before when they flooded it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, that's a good point, too, about dumping bodies in the lake.
Yeah.
Because, like, no one's going to think much of anything. There's already fucking bodies in there.
No, there's literally already bodies in there.
So many people have died there. One of Usher's stepsons, like, died in, like, a jet ski accident in 2012 there. Poor Usher, actually. One of his kids, like, drowned in a swimming pool, and then one of his stepsons got hit in a lake and drowned.
Oh, God.
I wouldn't like water if I was Usher. I feel bad for him. There are also, like, reportings of, like, freak accidents, like, such as, like, boats spontaneously catching on fire. And then, you know, a final random thing was just, like, the catfish we talked about earlier. Like,
yeah.
I looked up a picture. That's, like, legit. And then
yeah.
there's just, like, people have gone missing around the lake. Like, it's just, like, literally, like, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong.
Yeah, and I feel like there's also just, like, that lake is really, like, you get a bad vibe from that lake. Like, you go and visit, like, I'm not even making that up, like, and I hate lakes. I hate lakes, period.
I mean, I think lakes are freaky to begin with, but it also could be because we were raised around this fucking lake.
Yeah, true.
Like, I don't know, if we were raised around, like, a Great Lake or something.
Yeah.
Or, like, you're gonna have a lake by you.
Yeah, and it's not bad, like, at all. It actually looks like an ocean, so.
Yeah, like, our lake is just fucking freaky.
Yeah.
Because they, like, you know, drown towns and stuff, and there's dead bodies and catfish as big as cars.
And ghosts and...
Yeah, the Lady of the Lake. Anyway... I hope I sufficiently ruined your summer vacation for those of you who live in Georgia and were planning on swimming at Lake Lanier this summer.
And also those who were wanting to go to Montauk. Well, actually, you should go. That would be interesting.
I feel like that would be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Lake Lanier, like, I would no longer go to swim recreationally, especially because I know it wasn't created for recreational use.
Yeah.
But if I was going on, like, a dive to look at this stuff, I might consider
100%.
it. I feel like that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. Anyway, this was our part 2 of conspiracy theories. So, yeah, make sure to follow us on Instagram at tgic.podcast. Bye!